Welcome to Podcast of All Podcasts. Enjoy best moments of podcast history.
She may contain the urge to run away, but hold her down with soggy clothes and breeze blocks. Cetirizine, your fever, scream me again. Never kisses, or do you ever send a full stop? Do you know where the waffles go? They go along to take your honey. Way down how we build our breakfast down and say my love, love, love. La la la, muscle to muscle, to toe to toe. The fear has gripped me, but here I go. My heart sings as I jump up. Your hand grips and that my heart is shining up. Do you know where the wild things go? They go on to take your honey. Bring down our sleep, build a breakfast, now let's eat my love, love, love. She bruises calls, she splutters pistol shots. Hold her down with soggy clothes and breeze blows. She's morphine, queen of my vaccine, my love, love, love. La la la, muscle to muscle and toe to toe. The fear has gripped me, but here I go. My heart sings as I jump up. Your hand grips and as my eyes shining She may contain the urge to run away, but hold her down with soggy clothes and breeze blocks. Germaline, disinfect the scene, my love, love, love. But please don't go, I love you so, my lovely. Please don't go, I love you so, I love you so. Please don't go, I love you so, I love you so. Please break my heart. Please don't go, I love you so, I love you so. Please don't go, I love you so, I love you so. Please break my heart. Please don't go, I need you whole. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. Please don't, I love you so. I need you whole. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you whole. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you whole. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you whole. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you whole. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. I need you whole. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. Please don't go. I need you whole. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so long.
Dax Shepard with Gwyneth Paltrow.
And so I'm not at my best. I was late. Let me own that. I was late, which is humiliating. I arrived on crutches. I just took some medication that I don't get to use because I'm sober. I want to make a lot of apologies going into this.
Okay, you've set the tone.
Also, you drove out here, which is a big thing for us in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, I mean, I actually really, it's weird. I think when I've got so much happening in my life that I'm sort of now welcoming. If I have to get in the car, I can listen to a podcast. I can call people. It's kind of like this beautiful respite in the day. So I don't mind.
It sounds to me like you've done what I do with flights to New York. Like to me, a flight to New York is a vacation. Like 5 hours where no one can call me or ask me to get them anything. Yeah, that's heaven. So you've kind of transposed that onto just the LA commute.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I love this neighborhood, and I don't get here very often.
I saw you in traffic about 9 months ago, and I found myself kind of waving embarrassingly.
Really?
I swear to God, this happened.
Oh my
and
God.
you were up high. You were a passenger in someone's vehicle, and you were very elevated in the air. And I could
Interesting.
see you quite clearly. And I did some spastic waving and stuff. And of course, you didn't see me.
Darn.
And then I had that like 2 minutes of mild embarrassment
Shame.
about the whole thing. Yeah.
I would have been very happy to see you.
To wave back.
Isn't it scary that people see us while we're in the car? I always forget that, and I'm always doing who knows what.
Picking your nose.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do a lot of that. There is something that happens in the car that it elevates I won't speak for you, but my own self-esteem where I sing and I dance incredibly loud and I'm convinced I sound fantastic and I can get into a zone where I'm the person I really fantasized about being.
What does Kristen Bell think of your singing?
Well, she describes me as tone deaf.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
so say no more.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very efficient summation of how she feels about my singing, but I sing a lot.
Right.
And what's ironic is she's a beautiful singer.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, we know. It's been proven.
We love her singing.
There's very little singing around the house. And then yet I am always
You're
singing.
just letting it happen.
ABS, always be singing. Are you a good singer? I would imagine you can sing.
I think I'm an okay singer.
An okay singer.
Yeah.
And now, when you were married to Chris, did you find that like you felt left out of the party? Like that?
The singing party?
Yeah.
No, because I'm a really, really good harmonizer.
Oh.
So I never want to be the person singing by myself. I want to be in the back harmonizing. And so that was a really fun part of being married to him, was getting to harmonize with him and,
Yeah.
suggest little harmonies for songs and stuff, not verbally, but just sort of, sing along. And then he'd be like, oh, great, I'm going to steal that.
Every now and then we have these unique opportunities to kind of join other people's lives that would have taken a whole life of dedication to get to.
Yeah.
One of them for me is like I did a couple USO tours in Afghanistan. And while I was on the helicopter as they're shooting at something, and I'm like, oh, I kind of teleported into this
Other
experience that
Wow.
you normally would have to dedicate your whole life to have experienced.
life. Right.
And it's so unique. And I'd imagine being like on the inside of Coldplay is one of those where it's like, oh, I get to be on the inside of Coldplay, but I didn't.
Yeah. It's I mean, I'm still with him a lot. We raise kids together, obviously, and we're very good friends. He really is like family to me.
Yeah.
And I always love being around his music and when he's creating music. And over all those years we lived in the same house, you definitely get to be privy to some pretty inspired moments. I remember this one time, like we'd put the kids to bed and I had made dinner and it was like a regular night. We just ate dinner and he just got this weird look in his eye. And then he's like, I got to go to the piano. And literally, I'm not kidding, like maybe 4 minutes later, the song Paradise was done. It
Oh
was, like,
my
Oh,
God.
come out, like start to finish.
Para,
Oh,
para,
my God.
Paradise.
Oh,
That's
See.
not tone
I
deaf.
had a
That's
feeling
Yeah,
we'd
that-
hear it. Yeah.
Oh, that one fucking got me. That one got me big time.
It's a great one.
They have had several that really got me in a chokehold. Yellow
Yellow.
for me.
Yeah, Yellow's a good one. Yellow's a good one.
Isn't it awesome how a couple can own a song? They can just decide it's theirs, which
Yeah.
in probably 16 million people around the world have made it theirs.
But it's so nice, like at a Coldplay concert or at any concert for that matter, you can spot what those songs are and people go from looking towards the stage, they pivot towards each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
I love that moment.
It's really beautiful.
So sweet.
Are you like a romantic at heart as a kid?
Very,
Yeah, me too.
very.
In high school, what were some of those albums?
God, it's funny because I was very into like British kind of alternative 80s music, like New Order.
New Order.
And,
Psychedelic Furs,
Psychedelic
OMD.
Furs are like, Ghost in You is one of my favorite songs.
I lost my virginity intentionally to Love My Way by Psychedelic
Oh my
Fur
God, that is the best story.
in the basement of my
It's so
house.
John Hughesian.
It was. The unfortunate part of it was I mapped it out pretty nicely. It was a mixtape, a 90-minute tape. And we luckily got right to the action, right as Love My Way started, which was my all-time favorite song. And Gwyneth, I did not make it to the chorus.
I'm sure she didn't expect you to.
Well, I don't think either. I didn't make it to the chorus. And then I was just very confused about, like, do I guess I just continue on with this motion? And like, maybe she'll tell me that that's enough. And then just so going from like maybe the nicest moment to date to my life to then just real confusion and like hoping that I would somehow dematerialize and just end up somewhere I felt normal and
It's all part of the process.
It is, isn't it?
That's the human experience.
Yeah.
Right there. It's all of us multiple times a day. Like we could be 15 and losing our virginity or,
Yeah.
Whatever.
I just found out I was 15. First, let me start by
Were you
saying
15?
No,
Yes.
I was terribly young. I am almost, it feels irresponsible.
How young were you?
I was in 7th grade and she was in 9th grade. So I was 12 or 13.
Is that anatomically possible?
It is. I was also 5'11" and
You were in 7th grade? Oh, my son is in 7th. You're giving me a...
It's not common. I wouldn't say it's
statistically,
common.
Who
no.
has sex in 7th
Yeah,
grade?
that's early.
I was ready to do it.
I can't believe you could get a boner in 7th
Oh,
grade.
I was.
He's been getting boners
was
since he was
too-
4.
No, but I was 2 years into having boners that I knew what they were intended for. I think for me, it started in 6th grade where I was like, oh,
Okay, this is too
making-
close to my life right now.
It's funny because I tell myself I have a narrative I'm spinning about how I'm going to be as a father of 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And with some awareness that it is that. It's a theory. And then in practice, it might evolve. But currently, I'm of the opinion I'm super pro-sex. I am anti having sex to get approval. I'm anti having sex to get someone to like you or to gain status in a social circle. But if my daughters are horny and they have decided they want to have sex, I'm very pro-sex.
Yes, I am too. I should just say, you're a really thoughtful father. Like we've had a couple of conversations around it, and I'm always so impressed with how intentional you are in your parenting.
That makes me really happy
It's true.
because I'd say the single biggest stream leading to the self-esteem pond is the parenting one. I mean,
Right.
it's the one that gives me the most joy, pride, frustration.
Especially the daddy one for a girl.
Yes. Oh my God, I don't even know where to start with you. I'm already panicking that we don't have enough time because I just want to quickly say to you
So much time.
that I love when you're on Howard Stern. I think you're an amazing
Oh,
Stern
thanks.
guest. I think have you done it twice?
I have. That's
Yeah.
so nice.
The way you described your father on the show, as I'm driving to the sand dunes with dune buggies and a trailer behind me, I'm fucking crying. The way you talk about your dad, my life goal is to have my girls talk about me the way you talk about your dad someday. I think your comment was everyone has a father, but very few people get a daddy. Oh, my
that's
fucking
nice.
God, I hate it.
Chris Rock, that's what Chris Rock emailed me when my father died.
Oh,
He just nailed it.
oh, that's so special.
I know.
I have that towards my mom.
That's
Like,
so
I
nice.
just cannot get enough of that lady.
Oh,
And
that's
I will
so
feel directionless, I think, when she dies for a while. I'm pretty certain.
I can tell you that's probably right.
I can tell you that is in your future.
Yeah. I mean, I felt, for me personally, when my dad died, I mean, I was 30, which is relatively very young, hopefully, in the span of my life. And I still have a really hard time with it. And it's so interesting because, again, he was such an intentional father, and he was so observant and so deeply supportive and set us up to win all the time. And now I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son. And I'm like, fuck, I need to call my dad. Like,
Yeah.
I need to talk to my dad.
Hmm.
And I don't have that person. I have incredibly brilliant people in my lives, but I don't have their grandfather, who was also the greatest father in the world.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to talk to him.
Yeah. And how old was he when he died?
58.
Ay.
It's too young.
My dad was 62, and these are not good ages.
It's way too young.
Did he have a heart issue or
No,
something?
he had throat cancer. And then we were on a trip to Italy for my 30th birthday. And he wasn't feeling well. And then he got double pneumonia. And
Oh, my goodness.
he just sort of died on me
Oh,
on the
my
trip.
gosh.
Yeah.
On your birthday.
Just after, yeah.
Oh.
It was.
So are you, in general, now pretty pumped about your birthday as it rolls around?
Andrew Schulz.
how did you first get into comedy?
I was going to school in California at University of California at Santa Barbara.
Okay.
You know UCSB, you ever?
Yeah, I went to UC Berkeley.
Oh, you went to Berkeley?
Yeah.
Bragging.
A little bit.
I didn't even bother applying to Berkeley.
Right.
I applied to UCLA.
You know, I actually got into UC Santa Barbara, and I went to the campus, and I said, I'm not going to study here.
Yeah, I didn't
It's a
study
beach.
at all.
Like,
No,
you know.
It's insane, dude. It looks over the beach. The water's there. It's great. The girls are crazy. I got into Santa Cruz.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, of course.
Go
Are you from the West?
Yeah, I'm from the Bay.
Okay, so you did one application. You check them all off.
Yeah,
and then
pretty
boom.
much, yeah.
Okay. So I got into Santa Cruz, and the girls were gross. And my dad and I looked at the school. The school was beautiful, but all the girls had like foot hair and shit like that, and it was like super hippied out. And I was like,
Banana Slugs.
yeah, bananas. I mean, it was cool. Okay, it was beautiful. The trees and shit. It was nice, but and I come from New York. I don't have trees. I don't need trees. So I went to UC Santa Barbara. Went to UCLA. UCLA didn't, they said no to me, and UC Santa Barbara was cool. So my dad and I were like, all right, fuck it, let's go.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so I'm going to UC Santa Barbara. I'm managing a restaurant out there, and they just happen to have a comedy night. So the people that ran the comedy night saw that I was interested, and I was really into the show. I didn't really think I would ever try it, but I loved stand-up my whole life, and they were like, hey, you want to give it a go? And I was like, all right, yeah, fuck it, I'll try it out. And boom, I tried it out. It was cool.
Okay, and where to go from there?
I did okay my first time. Second time, I bombed so bad. It was like uncomfortable bad. Like I should have a fear of public speaking for the rest of my life bad. Like real bad. Like I remember when I was on stage, I was doing so bad that like I couldn't hear anything. There was a bar in the back. I remember I was just looking for connection to anybody, and I locked eyes with the bartender, and the bartender looked at me and then just looked down and started cleaning glasses. Like he just didn't want any part of what was happening. So it was just horrible. And then, but I kept at it, I'm competitive, I guess you could say. So I just kept doing it. And then I came back to New York like a month later because that was my super senior year. And yeah, I just kind of hit the ground running. I started working at some clubs here, like handing out tickets on the street. Hey, you want to come to a comedy show?
Oh, so you would actually promote your own shows?
Not even my show. Like the hustle back then was you hand out tickets in the street or try to sell tickets in the street, and if you get some people in, you could get on stage.
You had to hustle. Oh, wow. So they made you earn your spot.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
So I got, but you get like 5 minutes or 6 minutes, and I was so appreciative just to get that time, and then I just did that for a while, and eventually got, reasonably funny to where I could kind of get on stage, and I started running my own shows, basically asking people to come into my own show instead of doing it for someone else. Mm-hmm. And just trying to get funny. I just wanted to get funny. I never really tried to be on TV or anything like that just because I want to be funny. First, I want to be undeniably funny, And it was cool, man. I got to see all these great comics go up, and it was a cool experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever bomb in New York?
Oh, yeah. I got punched in the face on stage.
You got punched in the face on stage.
Tell
me about this situation.
Candles thrown at me. First time I ever did a quote-unquote hood room. So there's a bunch of scenes in New York. There's like the alt scene in Brooklyn. Alt is like kind of like nerdy white kids and shit. And then there's the club scene, which are the comedy clubs, Comedy Cellar, Comic Strip, stand-up New York, these clubs. And then there's the hood room, or the Chitlin Circuit, some people call it. And that's basically a bunch of shows that are in bars or rooms and that kind of stuff. And it's mainly Black and Latino comics that are self-promoted. And yeah, and I just wanted to get up and go on stage. I didn't give a fuck. I mean, I grew up here, so it wasn't like foreign for me to go, be around minorities. It wasn't like a weird thing. So I was like, yeah, I'll go up. I was on stage, I was talking to some guy in the crowd, and I just wasn't funny yet, but I was trying to kind of do some crowd work. And I don't even remember what I said to him, but he didn't really like it, and he kind of felt embarrassed in front of his people. You're walking into their home, essentially, the people who go to that show every week. And he came up to me.
So he walked up to the stage.
There wasn't a stage. You perform in front of like the bus station. There's no stage. You're at a bar.
Wait, okay.
Bro, you're at a bar. There's no stage. You know what I mean? It's like there's a basketball game going on TVs behind you. It's like doing comedy in Vietnam. It's a crazy experience, right?
Okay.
So you're just up there. It's the worst experience possible. So you're just up there trying to tell your jokes. Somebody does a great dunk and people are like, yeah, you think it's your laughs, but it's really, this highlight real shit. So basically he walks up And he walks real close to me, and I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm not even thinking anything's gonna happen. I'm just standing there, and he just swings, boom, punches me in the face. Before I could do anything, some dudes grabbed him, some dudes grabbed me. They took him, they threw him out of the bar, right? And I remember the promoter took the microphone, and then he handed it back to me. He's like, all right, man, keep doing your thing. I was like, what? What you mean? Keep doing my thing. So after I got punched in the face, I'm just still standing in front of this bus station, just trying to make people laugh, doing my jokes. You can't really recover from a punch in the face, So that was my first experience. But I went back there that next week.
Oh, you went back to the same
Had
bar.
Had to.
Were you thinking that you might run into the same guy?
Nah, not to fight him or anything like that, but it was more like I don't want to be a pussy. Like I don't want to be somebody who's like bullied and like I'm scared to go back up and that kind of stuff like that. So to be honest, that's the best experience I've ever had in stand-up because what could happen is worse than that. Like people are afraid of bombing. I'm afraid of getting punched in the face by some crazy Puerto Rican.
I guess you get stabbed or shot on stage.
I guess that would be the craziest, right? But if I lived through that, nothing's gonna scare me. So I went through, so many. I had a chick throw a lit candle at me. She didn't even blow out the candle. That's what it was.
She had a lit candle and she threw it at
Bro,
you.
she was so angry, she didn't even and then throw it. She just grabbed it and fucking tossed it. A beer bottle, crazy shit.
So what's, from your point of view, what's the difference between performing in front of white audiences and black audiences?
It's, to be honest, it doesn't even faze me, to be honest. I guess my life is different. I grew up in New York City. So the audiences that I've been joking around with my whole life, audiences, my friend groups, and have always been diverse. So it wasn't like, I don't go up to a black room and be like, hey, isn't church crazy, guys? You know what I mean? Isn't it crazy? Don't you hate it when, I don't try to relate. I just talk about the shit that I talk about. And, if people relate to it, they relate to it.
Because we just interviewed Gary Owen.
Oh, yeah, Gary, yeah.
Yeah, and he basically caters to a black audience.
I'm married to a black lady now. We got mixed kids. I'm talking about my life. So, but I will say this. There was a point where I was going too far left where if I went to Des Moines or I went to Omaha and there's a lot of white people in the audience, I felt like, oh man, I'm kind of offending them.
I guess that's that. If that's how he grew up, I always imagined Gary was kind of born and raised in around black folks.
Actually, he was, because I just interviewed him.
Yeah.
He actually was raised in a trailer park.
Oh, really?
With white people.
Okay, so maybe I guess he found something that worked for him.
But he ended up marrying a black woman. They have
right.
3 biracial. You have 2 biracial kids, and
So he committed.
He's in
He
there.
committed to this.
He
bunch.
committed. Yeah.
No, look, it is what it is. You find your niche or whatever. I don't know. I never really cared, to be honest. I'm gonna do my act regardless of who's there, and I think people respond to shit that's genuine. I got a buddy, his name is Ryan Hamilton. He's a comic. This guy's from Idaho. He's a Mormon. He's a virgin. He's 40 years old. This guy will kill no matter what audience he goes in front of. He doesn't curse. He doesn't anything. Black, white, Spanish, Asian. It's just if you're funny and you're not putting on something, then people will fuck with you.
Sure.
So I just never tried to put on anything. I just tried to talk about what I talk about. If you relate to it, cool. If you find it funny, I'm cool. I will say this, black people react way better if they like your joke.
Mm.
Yeah, when black audience is into it, man, they're standing up, they're throwing chairs, you know what I mean? They're punching each other. It's just great. When white people like a joke, they're like, oh, that was really good. They'll clap, ha ha ha, maybe some knee slaps, you know what I mean? Dude, hats are being thrown in the air. It's crazy. It's like a bar mitzvah.
You had mentioned that when you're white, there's no expectations sexually.
There's no expectations for pretty much, well, there's different things in terms of expectations, but sexually the expectations are way lower.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
What does that mean?
Just you ever see an R&B group, black dudes?
Yeah.
They're fucking doing all these dance moves, shit like that. So the expectation is that in the bedroom. You know what I mean? You ever see a country line dancing?
No.
It's no fucking, you know what I mean? That's what they're expecting in the back room, a little this, a little that, So yeah. Also your penis size, the burden I think of black people is the expectation in terms of penis size, because there's regular dicked black dudes. Imagine how horrible that is being a black dude with a regular size dick.
What about a small dick?
Forget it.
Forget it.
Dude, it's just because think about the girl's waiting for this gigantic fucking dick to fall out with an elbow. You know what I mean? Like just some crazy dick that like can inch its way up to her, right? And then you got this shit that's 4 or 5 inches. It's disappointing. You know what I mean? You don't even know what what if it's a white girl? This poor white girl's dad isn't even talking to her anymore because she thought this majestic 12-inch black dick was going to end up fucking her. Now you're giving her 5 inches? She doesn't even have a relationship.
Rupert Sheldrake.
Is take the 10 dogmas or assumptions of science and turn them into questions, seeing how well they stand up if you look at them scientifically. None of them stand up very well. What I'm going to do is first run through what these 10 dogmas are, and then I'll only have time to discuss 1 or 2 of them in a bit more detail. But essentially the 10 dogmas, which are the default worldview of most educated people all over the world, are first that nature is mechanical or machine-like. The universe is like a machine, animals and plants are like machines, we're like machines. In fact, we are machines. We're lumbering robots, in Richard Dawkins' vivid phrase, with brains that are genetically programmed computers. Second, matter is unconscious. The whole universe is made up of unconscious matter. There's no consciousness in stars, in galaxies, in planets, in animals, in plants, and there ought not to be any in us either, if this theory is true. So a lot of the philosophy of mind over the last 100 years is trying to prove that we're not really conscious at all. So the matter's unconscious, then the laws of nature are fixed. This is dogma 3. The laws of nature are the same now as they were at the time of the Big Bang, and they'll be the same forever. Not just the laws, but the constants of nature are fixed, which is why they're called constants. Dogma 4, the total amount of matter and energy is always the same. It never changes in total quantity, except at the moment of the Big Bang, when it all sprang into existence from nowhere in a single instant. The 5th dogma is that nature's purposeless. There are no purposes in all nature, and the evolutionary process has no purpose or direction. Dogma 6, biological heredity is material. Everything you inherit is in your genes, or in epigenetic modifications of the genes, or in cytoplasmic inheritance. It's material. Dogma 7, memories are stored inside your brain as material traces. Somehow everything you remember is in your brain in modified nerve endings, phosphorylated proteins. No one knows how it works, but nevertheless, almost everyone in the scientific world believes it must be in the brain. Dogma 8, your mind is inside your head. All your consciousness is the activity of your brain and nothing more. Dogma 9, which follows from dogma 8, psychic phenomena like telepathy are impossible. Your thoughts and intentions cannot have any effect at a distance because your mind's inside your head. Therefore, all the apparent evidence for telepathy and other psychic phenomena is illusory. People believe these things happen, but it's just because they don't know enough about statistics, or they're deceived by coincidences, or it's wishful thinking. And dogma 10, mechanistic medicine is the only kind that really works. That's why governments only fund research into mechanistic medicine and ignore complementary and alternative therapies. Those can't possibly really work because they're not mechanistic. They may appear to work because people would have got better anyway, or because of the placebo effect. But the only kind that really works is mechanistic medicine. Well, this is the default worldview, which is held by almost all educated people all over the world. It's the basis of the educational system, the National Health Service, the Medical Research Council, governments, and it's just the default worldview of educated people. But I think every one of these dogmas is very, very questionable. And when you look at it, they fall apart. I'm going to take first the idea that the laws of nature are fixed. This is a hangover from an older worldview before the 1960s when the Big Bang theory came in. People thought that the whole universe was eternal, governed by eternal mathematical laws. When the Big Bang came in, then that assumption continued, even though the Big Bang revealed a universe that's radically evolutionary, about 14 billion years old, growing and developing and evolving for 14 billion years, growing and cooling, and more structures and patterns appear within it. But the idea is all the laws of nature were completely fixed at the moment of the Big Bang, like a cosmic Napoleonic code. As my friend Terence McKenna used to say, modern science is based on the principle, give us one free miracle and we'll explain the rest. And the one free miracle is the appearance of all the matter and energy in the universe and all the laws that govern it from nothing in a single instant. Well, in an evolutionary universe, why shouldn't the laws themselves evolve? After all, human laws do, and the idea of laws of nature is based on a metaphor with human laws. It's a very anthropocentric metaphor. Only humans have laws. In fact, only civilized societies have laws. As C.S. Lewis once said, to say that a stone falls to earth because it's obeying a law makes it a man and even a citizen. It's a metaphor that we've got so used to, we forget it's a metaphor. In an evolving universe, I think a much better idea is the idea of habits. I think the habits of nature evolve. The regularities of nature are essentially habitual. This was an idea put forward at the beginning of the 20th century by the American philosopher C.S. Peirce. And it's an idea which various other philosophers have entertained, and it's one which I myself have developed into a scientific hypothesis, the hypothesis of morphic resonance, which is the basis of these evolving habits. According to this hypothesis, everything in nature has a kind of collective memory. Resonance occurs on the basis of similarity. As a young giraffe embryo grows in its mother's womb, it tunes in to the morphic resonance of previous giraffes. It draws on that collective memory, it grows like a giraffe, and it behaves like a giraffe because it's drawing on this collective memory. It has to have the right genes to make the right proteins, but genes, in my view, are grossly overrated. They only account for the proteins that the organism can make, not the shape or the form or the behavior. Every species has a kind of collective memory. Even crystals do. This theory predicts that if you make a new kind of crystal for the first time, the very first time you make it, it won't have an existing habit. But once it crystallizes, then the next time you make it, there'll be an influence from the first crystals to the second ones all over the world by morphic resonance. It'll crystallize a bit easier. The third time, there'll be an influence from the first and second crystals. There is, in fact, good evidence that new compounds get easier to crystallize all around the world, just as this theory would predict. It also predicts that if you train animals to learn a new trick, for example, rats learn a new trick in London, then all around the world, rats of the same breed should learn the same trick quicker just because the rats have learned it here. And surprisingly, there's already evidence that this actually happens. Anyway, that's my own hypothesis in a nutshell of morphic resonance. Everything depends on evolving habits, not on fixed laws. But I want to spend a few moments on the constants of nature too, because these are, again, assumed to be constant. Things like the gravitational constant, the speed of light, are called the fundamental constants. Are they really constant? Well, when I got interested in this question, I tried to find out. They're given in physics handbooks. Handbooks of physics list the existing fundamental constants, tell you their value. But I wanted to see if they'd changed. So I got the old volumes of physical handbooks. I went to the Patent Office Library here in London, and they're the only place I could find that kept the old volumes. Normally people throw them away when the new values come out. They throw away the old ones. When I did this, I found that the speed of light dropped between 1928 and 1945 by about 20 kilometers per second. It's a huge drop because they're given with errors of only fractions of decimal points of error. And yet, all over the world, it dropped, and they were all getting values very similar to each other with tiny errors. And then in 1945, it went up, 48, it went up again. And then people started getting very similar values again. I was very intrigued by this, and I couldn't make sense of it. So I went to see the head of metrology at the National Physical Laboratory in Teddington. Metrology is the science in which people measure constants. And I asked him about this. I said, what do you make of this drop in the speed of light between 1928 and 1945? And he said, oh dear, he said, you've uncovered the most embarrassing episode in the history of our science. So I said, well, could the speed of light have actually dropped? And that would have amazing implications if so. He said, no, of course it couldn't have actually dropped. It's a constant. So, well then how do you explain the fact everyone was finding it going much slower during that period? Is it because they were fudging their results to get what they thought other people should be getting, and the whole thing was just produced in the minds of physicists? We don't like to use the word fudge. I said, well, what do you prefer? He said, well, we prefer to call it intellectual phase locking. So I said, well, if it was going on then, how can we be so sure it's not going on today? And that the present values are produced by intellectual phase locking. And he said, oh, we know that's not the case. I said, how do we know? He said, we've solved the problem. And I said, well, how? He said, well, we fixed the speed of light by definition in 1972. So I said, but it might still change. He said, yes, but we'd never know it because we've defined the meter in terms of the speed of light. So the units had changed with it. So he looked very pleased about that. They'd fixed that problem. But I said, well, then what about big G, the gravitational?
Yuval Noah Harari. I hope I pronounced that right. He made the book Sapiens.
Information was very scarce, and the censorship worked by withholding information, by blocking the flow of information. But we now live in a very different age, when we are flooded by enormous amounts of information. We have far too much of it. We don't know how to make sense of it. And censorship now actually works by distracting people with too much information, with irrelevant information, with disinformation. And in this age, clarity is more important than ever before, because we need to know what to focus on. Attention becomes maybe the most scarce resource of all. And where to direct your attention and how to keep your attention on the important things, this is extremely important. And one of the things that I guess differentiate the powerful people today from the less powerful is knowing what to do with their attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's never been greater demands for our attention. Things like fake news, although, ascending and we're having this fake news moment, are certainly nothing new. Misinformation and disinformation and propaganda are as old as humanity. Mm-hmm. But this watershed moment that we're having, where we're just inundated with attention by virtue of devices that are specifically designed to addict us and distract us, it's become increasingly more and more difficult to discern truth from fiction, reality from obfuscation, and to just to kind of navigate our lives with that sense of clarity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would agree that fake news and disinformation are definitely not something new. We had them from the very beginning of history, and in many ways it was much worse in the past. With all the talk about, Facebook and Twitter spreading rumors and fake news, just think about yourself in some medieval village 1,000 years ago, maybe in England somewhere, and somebody comes along and tells you, hey, do you know this old lady who lives at the edge of the village? I just saw her flying on a broomstick. Uh-huh. And, within an hour, you would have a raging mob with pitchforks and torches ready to burn this old lady to death. So fake news is not a new problem created by Facebook or Twitter or Putin or Trump or anything like that. What is new is that now we are surrounded by devices which were designed to hack our brains in a way which was never possible before, because until today, nobody really understood the human brain. In the Middle Ages, the understanding of how the human body and how the human brain function and how human attention functions was extremely rudimentary. So yes, people knew a few tricks about how to grab attention, but it was nothing like what we see today, simply because science has progressed since the Middle Ages. And I think maybe the most important thing for people to realize about living in the 21st century, as against the Middle Ages or the Stone Age, is that we are now hackable animals.
People don't want to hear that.
I know.
We like to think that we're sentient and that we have agency, beyond the capabilities that you're sort of writing about.
Yes, we are sentient. We do have agency, but something is changing. Until today, basically, nobody could really hack us. We were just too complicated, and science and technology were too primitive. So if you went around believing that, hey, I'm a free agent, nobody can really look into my brain, nobody can really understand my mind, nobody can manipulate me and predict what I'm going to do next, this was true. But this is no longer true. Humans are extremely complicated animals, but they are not infinitely complicated. And in order for us to cross this watershed, we don't really need algorithms that know us perfectly. This is impossible. Nothing is perfect in the world. You can't build a system that predicts everything or that understands you perfectly. But in order to have a big revolution in politics, in culture, you don't need a perfect system. The system just needs to be better than the average human. And this is not so very difficult because, humans often make terrible mistakes in the decisions and the most important decisions of their lives. Humans often know quite surprisingly little about themselves, about their desires, about their minds. So if this is the yardstick to build an algorithm that knows you better than you know yourself, this is not an impossible mission, and we are very close to the point when somebody like Amazon or like the Chinese government are going to have these kinds of algorithms, these kinds of systems.
Yeah, what's interesting about it is that it's not happening against our will. We're voluntarily signing up for this. And I think most people are proceeding on this assumption that these tools are making our lives better. What's wrong with Amazon predicting the books that I want to read? What's wrong with me being delivered that kind of advertising, of the products that I already want to buy? Mm-hmm. It seems, if not benevolent, it on some level not malevolent.
Yeah,
right?
First of all, this is part of the design. This is not the secret police from George Orwell, 1984. This is the secret police from Brave New World. It works by understanding you and by appealing to your own cravings, your own emotions. So yes, the system works by making you feel that they are on your side.
Right.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be this kind of system. It will be the old style, Gestapo, KGB. But equally, and even more importantly, in many cases, it is benevolent. Depicting it as some kind of terrible conspiracy misses the point. If all these developments were just a terrible conspiracy to abuse us, then I don't think it would have worked very well. The point is that in many cases, these systems do understand us better and can improve our lives in many ways, and this is the temptation. In some cases, it's obvious. If you think about a healthcare system that monitors what's happening inside your body. And yes, it knows what's happening inside your body better than your conscious mind. If you have, cancer spreading in your body, very often people become aware of it only when it's already a big problem. and you start feeling pain, and you don't know what it is, so you go to the doctor, and you have this exam and this test, and then they find, oh, you have cancer spreading in your liver or something. And it's now going to be very difficult, very painful, very expensive to deal with it. And the alternative is to have this system that constantly monitors what's happening in your body and is able to discover that, hey, cancer is starting to spread in your liver when it's still in the initial stages. You don't feel anything. But the biometric sensors, they are already picking up the first telltale signs that cancer is beginning, when it's still very easy, very cheap, pain-free to get rid of it. So this is wonderful. Why would we why would we want to block this kind of development? And it's also the case that in many decisions in life, from which movie to watch to what to study in university, we could use help. We often make very bad choices. So if
that would have helped me out a lot when I was younger.
Yeah,
it would save me a decade.
So the whole problem is that there is a huge temptation there. It's not just a kind of malevolent conspiracy. There are downsides, but how to resist the temptations or how to enjoy the benefits without suffering the harmful consequences, this is the big challenge. And just saying, oh, this is all a terrible development, we should just unplug ourselves completely from all the devices, this is not going to work. And this is probably a bad idea because we would be missing so many positive developments.
Right. I'm wearing a ring right now that is actually a biometric device that measures my heart rate and my heart rate variability and my various sleep states. And I'm looking at this as a tool, as a benefit, sort of blissfully divorcing myself from the fact that I am a product of big data. And right now we're in this moment of convergence of infotech and biotech that's going to reshape how we live and what our world is going to look like. So play this dystopia out for me.
Oh, well, if you want to go in the dystopian direction, then, the question is, who knows, who gets the information that this biometric device is collecting on you? And what are they going to do with it? And if this kind of information is being harvested by some big corporation or by some government, and you have no idea what they are doing.
Duncan Trussell with Dennis McKenna.
We brought spores back from the Amazon, and we wanted to learn a way to propagate the mushroom so that other people could confirm or not these dimensions that we were accessing. So we were looking for validation, and we've got to get this out there, because are these experiences just peculiar to us, or is this what people encounter? And if that's what people encounter, it's a whole other ball game, because it's not just two deluded brothers, too steeped in science fiction or whatever it was we were steeped in. There is really an apparent dimension of experience. Now, whether it's inside or outside, I don't know, but people have this. It's a very, if you do 5 grams in the dark, in total darkness, you will be utterly convinced that they've landed. It's a very alien. You see machines, you see things that appear to be from some super technological place or time, maybe from the future.
I must ask you this, because you say you don't know. You still don't know? You still speculate as to whether this is a thing that's inside or outside?
No, I don't speculate. I've gone beyond that because I realize that these are dualistic terms. These are dualisms, and they're not relevant. There really is no inside and outside. These are, that's one of the things you realize when you take psychedelics and have the classic mystical experience. We are all one. There is no separation between us and the rest of the cosmos. So then if you start bandying about these terms, is this real? Is this not real? Is this inside me? Is it out from out there? This is a fundamental misunderstanding of what's going on. And we are so steeped in the Western tradition, at least, into this dualist thinking. I mean, that's the legacy of Cartesianism, you know. And it's not, what I think psychedelics show is that though that way of understanding the world is completely misguided. You know, there really is there's no separation between you and me and you and us and everyone else and the universe at large.
But this is
just why these experiences are so impactful on people. They have that realization.
The realization of the unit, how sub-ec, all one. But but I think I see the usefulness in creating at least a temporary distinction between these internal and external universes.
It's totally useful
for the taxonomy.
Ordinary reality and for navigating, and you know, we live in a culture that's based on dualism, so we have to sort of be able to play that game and talk that talk. It's important also that in the back of our minds we realize this is not reality. This is not how it is, you know. We're agreeing to play this game, realizing that that's not really how it is.
Right.
And in fact, I think one of the things that the psychedelic experience teaches you is, and I say this all the time, that we're living in a hallucination. You know,
yes.
Everything that we experience, all we have as biological entities is experience. Everything that happens to us is part of experience. But experience is something that the brain synthesizes.
Right.
It's a hallucination. It takes data in from the outside. It combines it with old memories and associations and things that we, you know, from the inside, and there's a certain processing that goes on. And then it essentially extrudes it into a model of reality.
Right.
That's the reality that we live in, not the real world. The real world is unknowable. The real world comes to us through these filters. A lot of what the brain does is filter things out. If everything came through, we'd just be overwhelmed and confused all the time.
I want to really cover this because I just want to put it out there on the table. Don't you think that there are disembodied life forms that we have not achieved the technology to take pictures of or to capture or to dissect or to study outside of the psychedelic experience? You and Terrence, it seems like you both really did believe that. Like there was there not an attempt that you were making to try to bring an object back from the DMT realm?
Yeah. In some way you could say that. Yes. Indeed, we did believe that.
And do you still believe that?
You know, I've come to a point where I don't know what I believe. I mean, that's an interesting thing. In a way, a scientist, which fundamentally I am, but at the same time, you can't work in the realm of psychedelics without always being aware of the limitations of science. Science is very useful,
yes,
but it's limited, and it doesn't give you the whole picture. It's very good at looking at tiny slices of reality in great detail, but fitting together the whole thing, it's not so good at that.
That's right.
You know, you have to invoke other ways of knowing. So, you know, I think it was Alfred North Whitehead, who was a philosopher of science that Terrence and I both admired and
Process
read a
theology.
lot. Process and Reality was his main book. And but he said, you know, the suspended judgment is the supreme scientific stance. The suspended judgment is the ability to say, we don't fully understand this or that phenomenon. We need more data.
Right.
And by the way, we need more funding, right? In this this scientific realm of big science, more data usually entails more expense. But it's perfectly legitimate to say we don't know. And the more I use psychedelics, think about psychedelics and all that, the more I find myself saying, we just don't know a lot about what is going on. I think we comprehend a very small fraction of the world, and through our limited senses and our limited instruments, and even psychedelics, which in some ways are instruments for looking at the world. You remarked earlier about a cherry blossom seen through the lens of psilocybin is not the same cherry blossom that you look at when you're not altered.
No.
And Simon Powell, who's someone you should have on your talk, he wrote Magic Mushroom Explorer. He wrote a number of interesting books about mushrooms, but he makes this point that psychedelics are in fact scientific instruments. You can there are ways of you see phenomena differently on a psychedelic than you do if you're not. You notice aspects of it that are always there, but we're conditioned to screen them out through this gating system that our brains protect us from being overwhelmed because they have this sensory gating thing going on. A good example of it, trivial but good, is you go into a restaurant, a noisy restaurant, you're trying to focus on what the people across the table are saying from you. And behind you there's a cacophony of noise, which your brain can learn to filter out. But if somebody at the next table says your name, that gets through.
Wow,
somebody over there said my name.
Right.
What's going on? In other words, certain things get through our conditioning. And psilocybin and other psychedelics temporarily disrupt that. They open you up to, they disable those gating mechanisms temporarily. So much more gets through, but that's why you have to take it under special circumstances, because otherwise you'll just be confused. And in other words, you have to anticipate what's going to happen and prepare for it by making sure you're in the right setting.
Right.
The freeway at 70 miles an hour is probably not the right setting. Grand Central Station, maybe not the right setting. Someplace quiet where you can focus on what the experience is, and then you can. Then I think a lot of what psychedelics do is they suppress the foreground. We are conditioned to look at the things in the foreground and ignore the background.
Right.
They reverse that equation, and you notice things that may always be in the background. They're always there, but you don't notice them. Suddenly those things become important, and you notice aspects of nature, of phenomena that you just normally wouldn't even be aware of.
Right.
Well,
this is I think one of the things I love about your work, and I love about what you and Terrence are masters of, is the ability to go into that state and come back with and articulate it in a way that a person who has never even taken psilocybin in some way or another.
Thank you, folks, for listening. Tune in next week for more podcasts of all podcasts. Honey, Honey, live on Joe Rogan. It's great. Hey, enjoy.
Man who passed originally, and it just feels apropos
to do it now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can you face me a little bit? Grazie.
Oh, how they cried when the big man died. They spilled buckets out of their eyes. gone. They won't bring him back to life now. When he went down, there was a trembling pull, and they came far and wide to the funeral. When the people showed up, they were broken-willed. They drank all day and they popped pills. Sing for that big man, baby, down by the river in the railroad track. Baby ain't happy that he's gone. They won't bring him back to life now. Bones buried young, bones buried deep, bones that won't shake now lay to sleep. And he looks down, or he looks up. He was a good man, that was enough. Sing for that big man, baby, down by the river in the railroad tracks. Baby ain't happy that he's gone. They won't bring him back to life now. Sing for that big man, baby, down by the river in the railroad tracks. Baby ain't happy that he's gone. They won't bring him back to life now.
Shit.
That was
That's so good.